Hey friends, today we're hanging out here with Rosilee St. Nicholas.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us today. Let's just start off, and you can just tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, because I know you're a very talented woman, and you have done a lot of really cool things, had a lot of cool experiences all around the world. So just give us a little bit of background. I know you're from Rapid City, but just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, that might take a while, so I'm going to
Where
make
do
it
I start?
short. Yeah, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Sure.
Well, I was raised in a pastor's home.
Okay.
And my roots are gospel music, and started playing the keyboard by ear when I was about 3 years old.
Okay.
And then when we came to South Dakota at 12, Dad needed an organist. So I had to learn to play the organ.
Oh, okay.
And so I had always been attracted to the Hammond B3. And if you're in rock and roll, or if you're in the certain churches, you know what a Hammond B3 is.
Okay.
And so I learned to play that. And then in '87, I did my first gospel album, moved away, went to California for 17 years, married Nick St. Nicholas from Steppenwolf. And then we started a band, the World Classic Rockers, WCR. And so what World Classic Rockers is and was, members from bands like the Eagles, Steppenwolf, and there was Toto, Wings, and the members would change once in a while. And then I did a tribute to Janis Joplin, because a lot of those rockers had played with Janis and knew her when she first got her start. For 10 years, and Randy Meisner from the Eagles was one of the rockers. And so my background, I didn't know any of these.
Rockers.
No.
Types. Yeah.
No, I'm like, you're with who?
Right.
You know? But so we toured, all over the world. In '07, after 10 years on the road, it came to a halt. I knew it would,
All good things must come to an end.
And to make the long story short, I went to Florida and all the way around, and I came home. I came back to support my dad in his church. And he'd pastored here in Rapid City for over 15 years. And I came to assist him. And then after about a year, he retired, and I became the pastor. And I've been there almost 9 years here in Rapid City.
Wow.
Yeah.
As a pastor.
As a pastor.
Wow, you've done a lot of things.
So we went all the way around and back.
Full circle,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So how does, you kind of describe yourself like as a church girl growing up. So how does someone of that nature get into like this rock and roll world, I guess?
My first time out of church was at Buffalo Chip in '90.
Okay.
And Rod Woodruff, I'd known him for years, and he said, I got a place for you to play, and I'm gonna let Nick St. Nicholas and his band play for you. And like, who's that? And he said, well, he was from the band Steppenwolf. And I said, wow, who's that?
Still didn't know.
Didn't know. And so it was an education as I went. And I personally made a vow that I would never drink, and I've never had a drug, and I just didn't participate in that, although if they want to, that's fine for them. I think I influenced them more than they influenced me.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah.
That you could sort of be the light for them.
Yeah. And then, being in the church and knowing the Lord, that's another lifestyle that to me has no comparison, because having God is so superior to what that is.
I mean, I feel like you've been in front of crowds that are like, thousands, millions?
Yeah, one time I did the NASCAR, and there was like 60, 70,000 people there. And,
oh my goodness.
And I mean, there's so many funny stories. One day I'll write a book about it.
Right? You should.
Get down on we're still down there, and he said, let's start your engines. And it goes uphill like this, and we had to run uphill, and they had to pull us in the fence.
Oh my word.
It was just a lot of funny, great stories with these guys.
More with Rosilee St. Nicholas when we return. We're joined once again with Rosilee St. Nicholas. for more on her singing experiences and life adventures.
Randy passed away, Randy Meisner from the Eagles. And many people know him from Take It to the Limit, and he was that high voice, yeah, remember that?
Yeah.
And so his caregivers and overseers were some of his best friends, and we all knew each other. And every time I visit Los Angeles, we'd go have dinner and stuff, and I hadn't seen him in 5 years. So somehow somebody mentioned, have me sing Amazing Grace. So they called and asked me. I said, I would be honored. During the event, we have an earthquake.
Oh my.
So it's raining like crazy and the storms are there, and we're in this little dark place, and we had the sweetest, kindest event for Randy Meisner. In front of the keyboard, which was set up for me, is Vince Gill, clicking on his guitar.
Oh my goodness.
He said, this is Vince Gill. I said, well, hi, how you doing?
I think I recognize you.
And he said, I'm here if you need anything. So I said, I would love for you to sing with me and play, because he could follow me on the keyboard.
Sure.
So Randy and I had a lot of talks about the Lord, and told them that if Randy was there, if Randy was here today, he would say it's okay for me to tell you that you're not going to live forever. You got to go somewhere, and you got to choose who you're going to serve. And then Vince and I started singing Amazing Grace. And you could have heard a toothpick drop. It was precious. And those people that were there loved Randy, and it was just a very wonderful moment for Randy and Lana, his wife. They're both gone now.
What a special moment.
Yeah, it was.
And you got to be part of that.
Yeah.
That's really neat.
I felt very honored to be a part of that.
Wow. How did you know you had a gift for singing?
Well, my mom, when I was 2, she's a singer and songwriter.
Oh, okay.
And she would record me, and she found out that I had like real good pitch, and so she started teaching me how to sing, and we would go to the church, and I'd stand on a chair, and she'd play the guitar, and we'd duet.
Okay, so in your earlier years, though, you said did you record a gospel CD, or talk
Yes.
about the music that is on like record for you?
The first one was in '87, and that was my first gospel.
God is real, for he has washed and made me whole.
And so what has life been like for you, sort of, I don't want to say like after you get off this high, sort of like performing and kind of living this lifestyle, a clean lifestyle, but nonetheless a different type of lifestyle. What is it like for you just to come back here and just kind of like integrate back into this community and sort of like settle?
Well, it wasn't easy at first. I have to say, I kind of mentally spun out of control because I was just cut out of my own corporation. It wasn't a very pretty story. But bad things happen, but out of bad things, good things happen. And so I always tell people when I'm counseling them that, you cannot give up. You cannot give up. You have to hold on. And so I came back, and there's been some really hard times, but I have to say that I'm where I'm supposed to be, and I have a wonderful life here. The quality of life here in Rapid City is amazing. And when you are where you're supposed to be, there's a satisfaction. And of course, knowing God and having family and helping others, that's what ministry is helping others, is so satisfying that not any concert hall, not any amount of money, not anything else can compare when you're singing to the Almighty God.
So now, if folks are watching this and they're like, well, now I want to hear this gal sing, so where can they find your music, or how do they sort of like find out more?
Well, we have service on Sunday at 1 o'clock at Living Word Church, and that's on St. Andrew Street in Rapid City between 5th and 8th Street, 602 St. Andrew.
Okay.
We have a good time in the Lord, and we want to see people's lives change. There's so much trauma, and there's so much unhappiness, and especially from the COVID, and people have gone within, and I tell them, we're not selling you a religion, we're selling you an experience with Jesus Christ.
Well, I think that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. God bless you.